the lockdown, I started learning a lot about fat acceptance, and I fell into that community. I ballooned up to 270 pounds, thinking that my genetics were what's making me fat. It made me feel so helpless and like I was trapped in this body. And it once again made me feel like I had no control over my body and what it looked like. It made me feel resentful towards anyone that was in a smaller body. After being involved in the fat acceptance movements for a couple of years, I started getting recommended anti-fat acceptance videos on YouTube and started watching them. I had a come to Jesus moment. It made me realize that, yeah, I was fat because of what I was eating and that I wasn't moving. My genetics was not an excuse for being my size.
We are going to be hearing from that creator, Angelica Violet, yet again. We talked about her briefly before when she clapped back at one of her critics, but now we're going to get into her story and her leaving fat acceptance.
This girl a mess, y'all.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel if you're new, and welcome back if you've been around here a while. I'm Kendra. This is Kendra Creates. This is my space where I share my life with you guys. I also talk about wild and crazy stuff on the internet. So if that stuff sounds good to you, then make sure you are subscribed to my channel. I would love to have you here. Also, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up while you are at it. So today we are back talking about this particular creator. I did make a previous video about her when she clapped back at one of her haters. If you guys have not checked that video out, go ahead and make sure you check it out. But now we're going to get into her story about how she got into fat acceptance, how she left fat acceptance, and what she's up to now.
I remember going on my first diet when I was in kindergarten because my doctor told me I was overweight. So from childhood up until I would say my early 20s, I was always on some sort of diet and hated how I looked. At about 18 years old, I had my first outbreak of an autoimmune disorder, and I gained a lot of weight from being on steroids, which led me to finding the body positivity community online. During the lockdown, I started learning a lot about fat acceptance, and I fell into that community. I ballooned up to 270 pounds, thinking that my genetics were what's making me fat. It made me feel so helpless and like I was trapped in this body. And it once again made me feel like I had no control over my body and what it looked like. It made me feel resentful towards anyone that was in a smaller body. After being involved in the fat acceptance movements for a couple of years, I started getting recommended anti-fat acceptance videos on YouTube and started watching them. I had a come to Jesus moment. It made me realize that, yeah, I was fat because of what I was eating and that I wasn't moving. My genetics was not an excuse for being my size. While that does seem kind of mean and a little harsh, it made me realize that I do have control over what I look like and how I feel about myself, which is why at 27, I have decided to learn what a healthy lifestyle is and lose weight. For some reason right now, it feels different than any diet that I've been on. I'm not stressed out and I'm not judging myself. I'm just making small changes in hopes to live the best life that I can. And I hope that you know that you can do the same thing too.
I just want to talk about a couple of points that she talked about in this video. And it's kind of like the talking points that we continuously hear over and over and over again. She talks about her story, how she got into fat acceptance because she gained weight and she wanted to like commiserate with people. She wanted like a safe space. That's how she got into it. And when she got into it, she gained even more weight. We see this all the time with creators, on TikTok or wherever on, social media. And then she talked about like her frame of mind and what she thought. She talked about basically how she felt like she had no control over her weight and it was her genetics fault. They love using that as an excuse, right? And she also felt trapped in her body, like she had no control. And then she even admitted to feeling resentful for those in a smaller body. And this is the part that they don't talk about. They don't want to admit this. They do not want to admit how they really feel about the thins. But I mean, with names like the thins, you can kind of see how a lot of these people feel about those in smaller bodies. And then somehow she got open to anti-fat acceptance on YouTube videos. She started watching those, and from there it was up. Like it opened her mind up to a whole new world, to what I like to call the real world. She was able to see things from a different point of view once she got out of that echo chamber. And she realized that it wasn't, the genetics fault. It was her fault. It was her fault. She was the size that she was because of what she ate and her low activity level, which is the truth. And now she has the opportunity to change her body, change her life, change her mind frame. She now is of the mind that, I do have control over my body and my size. And now I'm working it in a way where I'm eating better, I'm moving more, I am doing the things that I need to do to take control of my health and my life. And she says if she can do it, anybody can do it. And I feel her on that, because I feel the same for myself. I was able to lose a large amount of weight, and I was also able to change my life dramatically. And it starts here. You have to get that mindset together. You have to tackle those inner demons and the roadblocks mentally first. And I think after that, once you get into a routine and consistency and things like that, then it just kind of all falls into place. And you also have to get out of the freaking echo chamber and stop listening to what these people are saying, and like listen to realistic ideas.
This is 1,000% true, and it's literally why it took me almost a year to build up the courage to post that video and talk about my experience with the fat acceptance community, because I knew exactly this would happen. I knew if I openly disagreed or didn't want to be involved in this community anymore, I would be literally bullied and harassed. I know of at least 2 videos that people have made about me, literally lying about what I said, putting words in my mouth, taking everything I said in bad faith. I do hold a lot of the same values as the fat acceptance community. I do believe that everybody is valuable regardless of what they look like. I know that fat phobia does exist. I get it, like I understand. I just don't want to be involved with a group that is so mean and hateful. And one thing I really think is super crazy about this is how many like friends that I've lost. Of course, no one in life that actually matters, but like people on the internet that I thought were friends that I was mutuals with for like literally years. And it's fine that they unfollow me or block me, like everyone has the right to do whatever they want. I guess it's just kind of shocking to see how many people will just turn on you so quickly because you like have a slight disagreement with them or just don't want to be a part of like a little community. Especially this one girl, I won't name her name, but I think I was internet friends with her for like over 4 years at this point. We would reply to each other's stories like every single day. We would send each other memes on TikTok and Reels. She's even like bought things from small business, like as much of like a friend that you can have over the internet, you know what I mean? She just blocked me. I'm like, did none of that friendship like ever mean anything to you? I don't know, I just think in this day and age it's insane that you can't have like a slightly different opinion than someone. But I guess that's how the world works.
Really love the fact that she was able to express her personal experience with leaving fat acceptance, and how the tide turned, and basically how people turned on her. She knew that once she spoke out that she was going to be bullied and harassed for her point of view, her experience, and the things that she said. And she realized that this group of people that she embraced for so long were really mean and hateful. They were toxic. Um, and they were people that she did not want to associate with anymore. And like I always say, like there will be people that do not agree with you. However, that doesn't mean that you turn your backs on them. It doesn't mean that you talk bad about them. And it doesn't mean that you make videos about them. So crazy, right? And she talks about how many friends that she's lost. People have made videos on her. I talked about her in that last video. It was basically her response to one of those people that made videos about her. And it's crazy how someone decides to change their life actually for the better, and so many people can find fault in that. I just think it's insane. But I get it though. Those people are threatened a lot by someone changing, someone being in a smaller body. Like she said, she was resentful for those people that were in a smaller body. So imagine how these people now feel that someone that was once our peer is now actually doing something about their weight and their health. It's actually not the genetics fault. It's actually her fault. So in turn, it's my fault that I'm this size. Mm-hmm. Yep. And we're gonna talk about how they live in that denial and delusional land when it comes down to health.
And this is one of the reasons why I decided to take a step back from the fat acceptance community and start thinking for myself, but then also like observing how people in the real world feel about things. Because it's hard to make decisions for yourself when you are in an echo chamber, especially when you're involved in communities that tell you that you're fat phobic because you want to lose weight to get pregnant. There are studies showing that overweight women that are trying to get pregnant have a harder time, but of course that's just disregarded, as well as the complications and how dangerous it can be to be pregnant and overweight. And just because I say these things doesn't mean I like I'm still fat. There are science and studies to back these things up. I think health is a very complicated subject when it comes to the fat acceptance community. But they're always on the defense when it comes to health, and they don't always like talk about the full picture of things. Like they always want to talk about how fat people are healthy, and like they get so mad if anyone else thinks differently. But there are complications to being fat, and there are people that have died prematurely because of complications of obesity, but those people never get honored. This one fat acceptance commentary creator I follow on YouTube made a video about this recently, and I just thought it was sad because people will come online and build communities and friends, but then they die and like no one talks about them. They're disregarded because their life contradicts the points that they're trying to get through. Humans think in black and white when the world is in gray. There is so much nuance to be had in a conversation, but instead we just get told that we're wrong or fat phobic for not thinking the same as other people in the fat acceptance, fat liberation community.
I love how the commenter that commented on her video used the pregnancy as a great example, because I feel like we hear about this a lot, how being overweight, obese can affect your pregnancy, your chances of getting pregnant, complications, things like that. And like she said, there are studies done on these things. And she said that people live in this echo chamber of everyone has to think the same. Kind of like that cult, I was talking about. But yeah, people live there, and it's like if you disagree with us even in the slightest way, we're going to find fault what you said, and we're going to find fault within you. And then you have the chances that you'll be kicked out of the community, you'll be shunned, you'll be bullied, people are going to make videos about you or whatever. And she says that they don't want to admit the health consequences of being fat. you know People are passing away. People are passing away. This is a matter of life or death. And if you are alive, you have to think about the quality of life. It's not a game, it's not a joke, it's not cute, you know? We all want to love ourselves. We all want to, you know, embrace how we look and be happy. But this ain't the way. Not at all. And she talks about how they disregard the negative consequences that being fat can have. And it's like, I don't see it. I don't see it. It doesn't even exist to them. But I'm glad that she saw it and so many other people see it too. And I'm glad that I saw it too. Like, I knew that it was a possibility, but when I didn't have anything wrong with me, I never gave it two thoughts until I actually started having problems. And even when I started having problems, in my mind, I was like, oh, well, it isn't that bad. Or I also was like, this is kind of hereditary. People in my family suffer from these things. It's not a big deal. I'll just take some medicine, I'll go to the doctor, until it just got to the point where it just wasn't sustainable anymore. You know, being in pain, taking the medication, being out of breath, not liking how I looked in the mirror, like so many things. But they want to be in denial, maybe to the public, maybe a little bit to themselves, but you can't deny facts. You can't deny the health studies that are out there and that are being done about the negative health consequences of being obese.
And that's why it took me so long to talk about my experience with my body, my weight, my health, and the fat acceptance community. Because people do be saying exactly what this commenter is talking about. I think it's kind of wild to tell someone that they are being a traitor or betraying you for making decisions based on their health, or just losing weight in a pure vanity way, because it's fine to want to change your body. The fat acceptance community preaches so much about bodily autonomy, but then if someone uses that bodily autonomy in a way that they don't like, then they get outraged. And I even got some crazy comments saying that I built my platform on the backs of fat people. Like I manipulated them, like I used them. I built my platform on my back while pissing away my money on cute little clothes and makeup, sitting in front of a window filming silly little cute videos. While I am so grateful for the people that follow me, and I do appreciate the people that are still following me, because people did unfollow me for my heartbreaking decision. But at the end of the day, this is my body. This is my platform, my account, and I can do, and you can do, whatever you want. And guess what? I also don't care what you do. And I mean that in the most loving and compassionate way. I believe that everyone has the freedom of choice because I'm not a dictator.
I liked in this video how she wrapped it all up in a bow for her haters. Basically, she said what I always say: what's good for the goose is not necessarily good for the gander. It's okay to have body autonomy when you are in a bigger body, but when you decide to use that body autonomy to lose weight and be in a smaller body, then there's where the issue lies. And I feel like they are such hypocrites for that stance. It's only They are only okay with body autonomy when it benefits them and their statement and their movement in their community. And then she talks about something that a lot of these people talk about: how, you know, these people that were once body positive and maybe they left fat acceptance or whatever, how they built their platform off of plus size people or fat acceptance people or fat liberation people or whoever. And I've heard that statement quite a lot. And she talks about how, you know, I didn't really do that. It's not like I came in this with the idea of deception to trick all these fat people into following me, and supporting me. It just so happens that they did. And if they decided to stick around, they decided to stick around. And if they didn't, I understand. And she talks about that she built her platform. And I feel you, girl, because it's hard building a platform. Ooh, especially here on YouTube. You are at the mercy of the algorithm. And I really need to make my video about how YouTube age restricted my beauty video. If you have not saw the video, go ahead and please check it out. But yeah, I need to make that video. I'm gonna make that video. We're gonna talk about it. But yeah, she built her platform. She used her money to buy her clothing hauls and to show this and do that. Yeah, her being body positive or being plus size garnered in a certain audience, true. But either that audience is going to stay with you because they like you as a person, or either they're going to go away because you are no longer fat acceptance or you whatever. And we've seen it a lot. A lot of people lose their entire audience. They lose their platform. They lose their popularity. It goes down because people are like, I don't like this person anymore. That can happen with anyone. Or you can just be so likable and you can have such a wonderful audience that they stick around despite you changing your views. And that is what I said. You have the right at any time to do whatever it is that you want to do on your platform. And she made that very known. And I applaud her for her bravery and also her willingness to change and to change her life for the better. I hope that you guys enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also, get in the comment section. I would love to hear what you have to say about all of these things. You guys know I love talking about this topic because I was able to change my life as well. Make sure you continue to spread kindness and a word full of hate. I will see you on the next one. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Bye-bye.